My name is Khampa. That's my last name. Actually, Khampa means East Tibet. So I got this name. So my name is Khampa. So I met my friend like yesterday night on the street, main street right there. So when we see each other, it seems like we already met before. But when I think the details, so I never met him. I mean, this life, definitely I can feel I met this guy somewhere, maybe previous life. So then we just hang out together.
It's nice to meet you, Khampa. And I was hoping that you might discuss a little bit about your practice and what does it mean in context of life, and what is life? How do we find our way through life? It seems that it's very observable right now to notice lots of suffering everywhere. And I'd like to talk to you about how you navigate through life and what do you observe as the cause of suffering?
Okay. And this is one thing is this big topic, life, because the life is all we have life. So this is very important also. But my personal experience life is, we suffering, happiness, or we have daily life, but mostly time we never look or we never check what the cause really is, suffering, what the cause really happiness. So my personal opinion, when we cause suffering, cause happiness, first we need to look where they come from. That's very important. So I'm Buddhist practitioner. Most your focus inner value. Inner value means since we born, we have seed of the love, seed of the compassion, all these things. So in Buddhist course also the like Buddha nature. That Buddha nature we have is because we have it's naturally we have some kind of wishing happiness and free from suffering. Through that point of view, there is possibility awaken from the suffering. So because we have seed of the enlightenment. So what we need is that seed of the enlightenment, like example, like seed of the sunflower, for example. If you have seed of the sunflower, if you put in the sand, there's nothing coming up because that's not right place, which is you need right conditions. So if you put that seed of the flower, you put right place, and you take care, it grows up automatically. So this is the similar. We have a seed of the enlightenment within us. There's nothing, nowhere else. We have individual, so we need to focus that daily life. So in order to focus that daily life means, like for example, we talk about love and compassion. That doesn't mean with attachment. Because we have a daily life like love and compassion, all these things. And mostly the time we have with attachment. So that love and compassion turns back opposite. Very easy. Like for example, you love somebody as long as that person nice to you. And that person doesn't, nice to you, then your love turns back to the hate it. So in order to you wish that person, if you love somebody, I wish that person be happy. With attachment, then it could be, I wish that person be miserable, because your love is not genuine love. So that kind of love and compassion, if you want to develop through your own experience, then you need to look first how you're feeling. What do you want? That kind of feeling you have is exactly all when others. It's not just only human beings, all the sentient beings. They're wishing some kind of happiness or free from suffering. So then because you can feel your own, like that kind of you have feeling, then you understand through that understanding, you can feel other beings also as being like you. So then, if you more understand that then there's possibly your love becoming like genuine love and genuine compassion. So that kind of love and compassion very important. If we do.
Question. So if you're interested in approaching that or dealing with that, maybe one person that can take 5 years, 6, 7, 10 years, but others maybe they want a more immediate result. So are there different paths within your practice for maybe like immediate action or the lightning vehicle for such result? Or how can you expand a little bit on your particular approach when dealing with these topics?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, for example, how you deal with this kind of practice means you have to look first to yourself. You cannot be judgment to others. Because we have a problem, most problem is we become a judgment others. We never look at ourselves. So that kind, if the mind goes that way, then more problem, more suffering. So when you look you look yourself like that kind of place, and then you more get that result.
Thank you. We're just joined by Chesterfield, who would like to ask a few questions as well. And Chester comes from Boulder, Colorado, and does cinematography, documentary, filming, photography work. And he also has a Buddhist practice. So I'd like to ask you maybe spontaneously how you would relate to Khampa being here, or Khampa, and what questions you may have for him.
I'd like to thank you for being here, and I just find that you're from Tibet, right? Nepal?
Yeah, I'm
Tibetan. I find it, very sad what's happened. It's incredibly a lot of suffering, and at the same time, I find your people to be very just like the embodiments of compassion, to be able to suffer or just to be able to have that experience. And as well, on a lighter note, that you'll be able to bring some of these kind of teachings to other people. So if I was to ask you a question, if you haven't asked this, how does love fit into the Tibetan teachings? Aside from compassion, is there something further, or they speak about it as jewels, or maybe part of a sutra? But how does love, unconditional love, how would you speak about that? Yeah.
think unconditional love is, the way you have animal, especially like dogs, Seriously, when the owner's not there, they're always waiting, and when they can, they're really unconditional love. There's nothing else beyond that. I think that's a really good example. There's nothing else there. They're just genuine love. Because they knew, they take care of them, they love them. So that's my example giving. So then, other than in Buddhist point of view, unconditional love means you need to know how sentient beings suffering. I just spoke through your own experience. You want happiness, you don't want suffering. Exactly the same. Others same. So that comes, your love comes to develop. That I think is becoming more easy unconditional love. Because that's the main reason. Otherwise, if I love he or her, whatever, as long as they're nice to me, that comes back result or attachment something, then that doesn't stay long. So I think, if you, in the Buddhist point of view, unconditional love, this genuine compassion, you have to change self and others. Yourself, others. You cannot, mostly we think others, but you have to put you and others, and change means equal. That comes develop, then your love becoming genuine love, because you understand how they're feeling, what they're wishing. They're wishing happiness same as you. That's the main reason. So then you don't take some kind of advantage from them, all these things. Because you put in you, others. You don't want suffering. So you put others, then as others, same as you don't want suffering. So that kind of you understand, then become a genuine love. I think so.
Can you tell me what you heard him say? How would you expand on it or explain, like translate that or expand on it, just with your knowledge of what Buddhist practice is all about?
I feel that the cause of suffering is when you're not loving. I feel like the cause of suffering is when you're not loving to yourself, to you, and the others. But the
cause of suffering, basically we have, of course, ignorance. That's the main foundation coming from there, ignorance. Of course, if you don't love yourself, then extremely difficult to love others. First, you must love yourself, That's, of course.
One of the challenges that I have with talking about these things is that your idea of self, your understanding of self, may be completely different than somebody else's in the room. And if there's an environment of fear or exactly these things that you're talking about, there's like a wall of separation, of dissonance, of lack of openness to even start communication. So how do we touch on that idea of self, and what suggestions do either of you have for opening channels of communication with so-called others, strangers, or people that are in rejection of your practice or your viewpoints?
In this point, the self, our self means, general, we have I or me. As long as you think it's natural I, then it's coming this my. That kind of we have already. Any sentient beings, we have that's natural. That means that's self. So any different I or self, what I'm saying is they have some kind of nature. They have wishing some kind of happy or some kind of suffering.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying is that there's the I, the self, that's the me, which is separate from the rest of the creation, and so therefore it has its own agenda, and it sort of grasps, to like kind of keep itself in its own persona of self, of that character, and that it's in relativity to the relationship it has with self. So if it's an approach that I'm going to be this character, I'm going to use all my energy and might to hold this character in place. In that there's a stress there. Yeah, and just to speak about ignorance would be ignorant of love, which would be when one is in love, then one is in sync with the infinite creation. Completely, like they are the center, and there's like infinite centers. So it's like we're serving everything at the same time. We're serving infinite everything. So that, to me, that would be where it all syncs up, and everything else would be suffering, ignorance.
To reorientate this conversation into a practical, action-oriented way, I would just like to say thank you for hosting this tonight. And I think that when you can discover or identify either people or places that are operating in a selfless manner or a fear-free manner, I think it depends on us to honor that and recognize that and support that. So whether it's an artist or a monk or somebody who wants to sing a song, I think that the people that are approaching life in this manner, in a loving manner, are currently a minority. And I think that it's a beautiful thing to be able to join together like this to capture the topics and the people at hand. And I just want to say thank you, Khampa, for doing this spontaneously. And from a heart space of like not knowing us or this or that, but using your practice to jump through all those hoops to be able to arrive here and bless us with some of your wisdom. And I just want to say thank you, Chester, for joining in to help articulate, because this takes time, even in just the short period of time that we've attempted to tackle this, we barely touched the surface. So thank you, everyone, for being patient with us. And I'd like to give the mic to him to close the conversation.
Yeah. No, we will talk about it basically like self, others, all this type of. Actually, in Buddhism, this is all relatively, Otherwise, this big topic is like selflessness of person, selflessness phenomena, all this, because you figure out topic. Actually, there's no you, there's no me. Absolute. But relatively, we talk about right now how developed compassion or love, this kind of, we have to go through that way. So otherwise, we say I, where the I? Definitely there's no I. We cannot figure that, we cannot find even. So there's so many Buddhist text explanations. So I, me, all these kinds, we talk about relatively, I'm practicing, I became enlightenment, all these things, so relatively. So absolutely, even there's no I, so who's going to be suffering? All these are different topics, but we will talk about it, of course, relatively. Of course, you all understand that.
And then if we wanted to find you to talk more and explore these topics, where would it be? Where can we find you, or can we come and ask you questions? Are you?
How do they find you?
If we want to have like a, where do we find Khampa? If we want to have a tea and